how I met the love of my life. I had gone from Fort Hays Teachers College to Belpre, Kansas to spend the weekend, like I usually do every weekend, to see my relatives, my grandparents and Aunt Bess. And Joanne was there getting her senior year done there, and she was going with Charles's youngest brother, and they wanted us to go roller skating with them. She said, Eddie's brother just got home from the army yesterday, and would you like to go roller skating with us? And I said, well, sure, we'll go skating. I'll go skating. So I went to the roller skating rink when Charles was there when they picked me up too, and I met him, and he seemed nice. But we went roller skating, and he just got out and hung on to the rail. He couldn't even skate. And Joanne and I could skate. Really, we'd skated all our lives. We knew how to skate, but he didn't. But that night in the back seat, when we were riding, and he was just on his side of the seat, and so was I, he said, would you like to go at the movie tomorrow night and see Grapes of Wrath? And I said, sure, I'd like to see that. So he picked me up the next evening, and we went to Kinsley to see the Grapes of Wrath. And while we were there, he said, may I hold your hand? And I was very impressed because he was such a gentleman. I wasn't used to that, being at Fort Hays, Kansas State Teachers College, and with soldiers and things all around. Oh, we went to the Grapes of Wrath and went home, and he said, could I take your shoes home and polish them? I said, well, yeah, they were awfully scuffed up, but they didn't bother me. But he took them home, and the next morning they came over, and my goodness, they looked like new shoes. And he said, well, I always had to have mine shine like this in the Army. Then he came to Hays to see me several weekends. Then I asked him if he'd like to come to one of our dances. The sororities had dances. He said, sure, I'd like to come. So he came to the dance, and I had a dance card and had it signed up in our sorority. So we made out our dance cards, and a lot of the girls wanted to dance with Charles, so I set him up with him. He had this dance card, and he didn't like it. And he said, well, how come you've got me dancing with all these girls and I don't get to dance with you? You're the one I came to see. But anyway, that went on for a while. I did cut it down. He was always bringing me gardenias, and I don't like gardenias. He brought it to pin on the dress the first time. And I said, do you think you could bring the wrist corsage the next time? I said, several of the girls have those, and I thought that'd get away from my nose anyway. So he did. From then, he brought me wrists, but I never did tell him I did not like gardenias, and they always brought a gardenia because he loved them. Then we got married, and you want me to tell you about the pickup?
Mm-hmm.
And he came once in the pickup instead of his car, and I said, how come you've got the pickup? And he said, well, I'm going to work on it a little bit. I thought I could work on it while we were sitting out there reading the paper. I said, okay. So he worked on the pickup, and I read the paper, and then he took me home, had his head he lifted the hood of the pickup, had his head under there, and he said, hey, Jean, there's a box in the glove compartment. It's for you. So I opened the glove compartment, and I said, well, couldn't imagine this little box, so took it out, and I said, well, there's a ring in here. And he came in, and he said, well, pick up the cap, and he said, well, that's for you. Then he finally said, will you marry me? And I said, sure will. I thought he was just the wonder of my life, and he proved to be that. We were married several months later.